The moment I walked around the back of the house after the flood, I thought I'd had a stroke and I was seeing in black and white, because it was just incredible, like an incredible oil slick in shades of grey.
So I was able to go back home and go up the side of the house and see the mud on the house and the mud everywhere there. You know, here it is again, after 74 one, going through all this stuff again, but there's nothing you can do about it, you just got to push on with it. It doesn't clean itself up.
It was just this gutty, eerie feeling as you walked all the way through it, you know, and just saw everything, all the kids' stuff, all the things you pick up over years, you know, their baby books, their this and that. And that was that initial and total disbelief, I suppose, at that stage.
It was mayhem on one side of the street, but the other side, it was like a tourist strip.
In fact, there were so many and they kept coming and coming.
But not at all prepared for just this activity everywhere. It was just manic, crazy activity. That's what it felt like.
People were coming to help, and there was that many people you couldn't get down the street. You had to get your cars out of the way, and otherwise you'll leave them half a mile away and walk down.
You couldn't do it on your own.
No.
And I get that. You could not do this on your own. But it was really overwhelming sometimes, you know, to turn up and everything's there. Everything's on the street.
A couple of people whose parents had been around in 74, they were, you know, they'd come and say to me, there's a lot of stuff we can save here. And there was a wonderful woman who letter dropped in everyone's box saying, really think about what you're throwing out. A lot of this stuff can be saved.
We didn't understand how some things could maybe wash up.
Some of them thought anything with mud on it was disposable. And so it's all going out on the footpath where end loaders are going to come and load in a truck and take it away.
Volunteers and other people came around the house and helped you throw out things that you wanted to keep anyway.
And I'm picking up this flipping microphone that cost me $180 that was thrown out in the street. And I'm picking up my KitchenAid mixer, which I had splashed out on for our 10-year wedding anniversary, because if he can have a tool in the tool shed, ta-da.
You can have your KitchenAid.
I can surely have my KitchenAid. My friend took that, and her husband, he's a Sparky, he cleaned it up, and he, 6 months later I came home and it was working good. It was lovely. But just things like that, everything was just ditched.
Did you want to say to them, stop?
They were emptying out the drawers and tipping them all out the windows down on the ground. When I went downstairs, here's Val's jewellery. Now, she's only got ordinary looking jewellery, like they're not $5,000 pearls, like they were her mother's, but I mean they weren't the real good stuff. And that's not all, like lots of things were tipped out. And I was a bit amazed. I said, hey, fellas, watch this.
They did collect things they wanted us to go through on the deck, but they didn't know what was important to you.
Look, I think everybody tried to do things out of good intentions.
Yes.
So I don't ever want to sort of sound like I was ungrateful.
No.
But it was, I guess, having lots of people in your house and they'd say to you, what can I do? And I'd be like, I don't know, I've got no idea. Or you know, I was really grateful when Gav said to me, go into your room and sort out your clothes. See what you think you can save and what you can't save. And I could sort of then go into a little place and just come to terms with what had happened and what it all looked like and all this craziness around me. And that sort of helped. I kind of locked myself away a little bit where I didn't have to really deal with people too much. And then it was on my terms when I chose to come out. And I think they kind of went, well, maybe she's not coping too well, we'll just leave her by herself for a while. But that was good.
We had actually, with the help of family, it was a very clever move, I thought. We had piled all the breakables, all the crystal and all the crockery and that in the bathtub. And left the plug out so that it wouldn't float and wouldn't break. So the whole bathtub was full of all our treasured glassware and all the things that would normally have just been washed out of cupboards and smashed. A few days later, when all this green mould and stuff started to appear on the built-in wardrobes, things that I can't remember seeing in 1974, it was like some ugly, you know, black and green gangrene almost that was beginning to sprout on the walls, and then you realise that this house is contaminated.
The first week I could go back there and sort of kick bits of garbage and wipe my finger along the grime and stuff, but it wasn't really much sense in doing anything because it was, you know, knee-deep mud still.
Yeah.
And then it was definitely a case of not really knowing where to start or if it was worth it. You know, there was a lot of people saying, you know, bugger this, I'm, you know, getting a buyback and I'm out of here, and, you know, people just leaving or just not coming back at all. So there was, you know, a couple of weeks of what do we do, because we'd only lived there sort of 6 months.